Hello and welcome back to the Q&A. So as always, if you have any questions or anything like that, please leave them down in the comments and I'll eventually get to them. Now I know this is kind of soon after the last Q&A and I haven't had a lore video out in a decent bit of time. That's just because I kind of need a day or two to get back into the swing of things, write new material, capture footage, all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully the kind of high quality content will sort of start to seep into the start of next week. Until then, you'll have to deal with non-content, so take that. Still, on the bright side, today's Warcraft daily was actually pretty interesting in my opinion. I'm definitely kind of happy with these new mounts. Okay, I think I have one or two things where I think maybe, yeah, it maybe would have worked best not being a collector's edition because it's not Iron Horde themed, but still, you know what? I think overall, it's pretty damn cool. Anyway, so let's jump into today's questions. The first one is from Matt Cole, and he says, wondering what you think Kairoz's intention is for sending Garrosh back into the past. They don't really give a reason why he does this. Is he being corrupted by an old god? Maybe he wants to find another way to bring about the infinite dragonflight. I'm wondering what you think. Great video, and keep it up again. Well, I hope this is a good video, and thank you. So, basically these things that you've said, the reason why we don't have the answers is because it's a part of the next expansion story and that hasn't happened yet, but what we can do is speculate. And it's funny, this actually goes way back to one of the speculation videos I did on the story of Warlords before I even knew what Warlords did, and as it turned out, my prediction was actually pretty accurate. It was nearly exactly accurate, it was kind of freaky. Anyway, so the key bit of information from what we already have in-game is the Timeless Isles, and that third or fourth vision of time where you get to see Kairoz kill Sora Dormi. Now that seems a bit weird, seems a bit infinite time, or infinite dragonflight-ish, because maybe the death of his consort causes Norse Dumu to go mad. That's one potential about the infinite dragonflight. But anyway, the Caverns of Time are involved, we see Kairoz kill a dragon, and we know that he has to maybe do something to alter the portal. We know that it's Kairoz that alters the Dark Portal to facilitate Garrosh going back to the Ultimate Timeline, but the thing is there some kind of like artifact he needs or something that's under the Bronze Dragonflight's control. Maybe he stages the death of Sora Dormi as like a rouse to go in there and get whatever he needs. So that's possible. But anyway, they're not really besides the point. The main question is, what do I think Kairoz's intention is? That's kind of hard. So first of all, it's World of Warcraft, meaning old gods. It could be N'Zoth trying to fuck stuff up. It could be maybe he's an agent of the Burning Legion. He's been maybe visited by Dreadlords, and they're like trying to get him to send our forces. Oh wait, okay, I just had an idea. So maybe the Burning Legion are kind of paying off Kairoz to send us into Draenor, cause that whole problem, and then the next expansion is Rise of the Legion, where they attack us directly. Just an idea. I don't even know if that would work or if it would be good, but hey, that is at least one intention of Kairoz, is that he's being manipulated by the Burning Legion. Another one is, of course, old gods, like maybe N'Zoth has got some part in this, although I don't really think that's too true. That said, though, the old gods love chaos, and what would be more chaotic than an entire horde invading Azeroth again? I think that would be pretty chaotic. Maybe the old gods want it. So there's that. Then next, Garrosh. I don't know if there's any way that, like, Garrosh could have got to Kairoz, so I don't think it's going to be Garrosh directly. What we do know is, of course, that Anduin ends up freeing Garrosh. We see that again in one of the Visions of Time. Chances are Anduin was manipulated by Wrathion or manipulated by something like that. One key thing is, in the Timeless Isle, Wrathion, Anduin, and Kairoz are all around a table talking. Now, Wrathion's idea was that in Mists of Pandaria, and half the legendary quest was about this, he thought that the Alliance and Horde would have this war, and the Alliance would completely steamroll the Horde, which they probably would have due to all the stuff Garrosh did. Actually, no, I think Wrathion was originally in favour of the Horde, but then Garrosh went crazy, so he switched allegiances to the Alliance because he wanted the Alliance to wipe out the Horde. That's why he completely just flipped out at the end, saying that we should have crushed the Horde, killed everyone, and then the Alliance on its own would have been ready to fight the Legion when they eventually come. But of course, the whole point is that the constant fighting has made both sides stronger, therefore, together we are better off, both existing so we can fight the Legion. But anyway, his idea was essentially that there's now one force, so maybe Wrathion thinks it's a good idea to just have this Iron Horde come in and protect the planet. Well, come in, wipe the lot of us out, and then since it's now their planet, they just hold the fort against the Legion. Maybe he thinks they'd be better off fighting the Legion than we would. Of course, I don't really think this makes much sense. Wrathion, well, I don't know, like, Wrathion did go kind of mad towards the end, but Blizzard did say they have ideas and things to do with Wrathion later on that are not in this expansion. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, though, that Wrathion could have been the guy who somehow manipulated Anduin into freeing Garrosh, or maybe it was Kairoz. It's hard, and the best we can do is speculate, which makes it just sort of weird doing a video like this. I know my train of thought's kind of all confused. But yeah, in terms of intentions, I don't think it's Kairoz himself. There's definitely an ulterior motive. And, I mean, yeah, it could be a really interesting story. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that's going to pop into my head before I decide to move on to the next question. No, there isn't. The next question, of course, has also got to do with Wrathion. It's from Drill Sergeant 515, and he says, do you think Wrathion could suffer the same fate as Neltharion? That's Deathwing's actual name. So basically, he's worried about the Legion, like Neltharion was, and he has somehow, at least Wrathion at the minute, according to Drill Sergeant, has seemingly forgotten about N'Zoth. He's supposed to be pure, but if N'Zoth could turn Neltharion, who was ancient in comparison to Wrathion, into Deathwing, then maybe it would be easy for him to kind of just destroy Wrathion's mind. Well, the first thing is that Neltharion was very ancient, and he'd been slowly being chipped away by his very long proximity to N'Zoth, being the Earth Warder. Wrathion has not had that problem where he's been sort of, you know, working around with the Earth, but for thousands of years. He hasn't had that. So N'Zoth has had far less time to work his way into his mind. That's definitely one thing. Also, I just think that, like, from a story perspective, I don't think they're going to take Wrathion in that direction. It wouldn't be interesting. It would be just the same as him and his father. I think they can do more interesting things with the character. So, like, I'd be kind of disappointed in their storytelling if they were to take Wrathion in that direction. This whole pure Dragonflight thing as well, that basically just means he's not corrupted by the kind of taint of Neltharion and the Twilight's Hammer and all that. That means he's got his own fresh slate. So, he's starting off being pure, and yeah, he, as you said, N'Zoth could turn him like he turned his father, but it took N'Zoth such a long time to do that, I just don't think it would really be conceivable. Also, unlike Neltharion, like, Neltharion, he did know about the old gods, but over time, he just kind of actually worked their way in. Wrathion is very acutely aware of the fall of the rest of his Dragonflight, and I think that because of that, he would be very conscious to any efforts to, like, subdue his mind. I think he is going to pick up on that before it happens. So, yeah, like, he's one of those guys where he's morally grey, all he wants is to protect the planet. A lot of us don't particularly matter, so, I mean, yeah, there's Wrathion. Anyway, the next question is from Brian Gearson, who says, how far through Draenor's history do you think we're going to go in Warlords of Draenor? Do you think we'll get to see Draenor blowing up, and it being our fault, or something like that? So basically, no, like, it's a different timeline, and because it's a different timeline, we are going to change events, right? So basically, quick little history recap. The Burning Legion manipulated the Horde, and through all their warlock magic and shit, kind of tore up Draenor. Then there was the two wars against Azeroth, and when the Horde came back, Ner'zhul decided he would make all the portals, and that is what caused Draenor to explode. The thing is, though, that with us going into Draenor in full force, and events playing out completely differently, it's not, like, we don't know if, well, first of all, the first war and the second war won't happen. We don't know that all those things with Ner'zhul might happen, so there's a good chance that he will never detonate all those different portals, and that will never happen. So, in terms of how far through Draenor's events are we going to go, we're really going to go 35 years into the past in an alternate timeline, and then we are the reason why events play out the way they do, so nothing's predetermined. It's like it's a separate timeline, so that Draenor, that Azeroth, that timeline's version of everything is completely different to ours. It's really just a plot device to allow us to have a cool expansion with all the really badass, like, old orc leaders. Also, actually, just a thought, it's kind of funny that this is an expansion they really could have done at any point. Okay, I know the intro is Garrosh related, but it also seems to line up kind of well with the Warcraft movie. So that's kind of interesting the way they all sort of lined up with each other. But anyway, yeah, I don't think we're going to go terribly far through Draenor's history. But I think we're going to make some really cool history while we're there. There's all the different bosses. We're going to find out what the final, like, force that's behind everything is sort of silently manipulating all the different characters. that are to do with Warlords. We're going to find out what that is, and that could lead us into a further expansion, or maybe even more history in Draenor. So yeah, whatever happens, I think it's going to be pretty damn cool. Anyway, next question is from Gunbolt, and he says, what do you think all the symbols on the big ring of the front cover of the game boxes are? Like, do they have any significance? It seems to be common to all the expansions box art. Is it decorative gibberish? I never really said gibberish, silly me. Lore connection, or has Blizzard made a deal with Satan to have a successful game? And what do I think? Yeah, it's decorative gibberish. Have they had a deal with Satan? Well, I know I'm not really a religious person, so I don't think there's a Satan, so I'm going to say no. But let's just say figuratively there was. That certainly is one explanation for why World of Warcraft is successful. And while we are on the topic of satanic-style things, one thing that pissed me off about Diablo 3 is they really toned down on the Satan symbology and stuff. And I think that's one of the really cool aesthetic things from Diablo 2. So there's a little bit of a problem. There was less pentagrams and cool things in Diablo 3 than there was in 2. And for some reason, the just idea of symbols and box art and all that made me think of that. But anyway, yeah, that big ring in the front cover is just... it's just decorative stuff, I think. Although it would be pretty cool if they pulled an M. Night Shyamalan at the very end of the final expansion, and it turns out that that was just some code for something that's actually the end of World of Warcraft. Of course, if they did that, I think everyone would flip out and be angry. Anyway, so we have another question. It's from We the Wax, who says, I read somewhere that the Naru are unaware of the existence of the Titans. Is it just me, or are the Burning Legion similarly ignorant of the old gods? I mean, they could be. They've never really stayed on Azeroth for long enough to feel the direct implications of the old gods. The old gods work over thousands of years through slow manipulation, so yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's possible that they're at least going to directly know unless they actually talked to the old gods. Now, whether the old gods would actually want to be known by the Burning Legion, that's a different thing. The old gods don't want to die, but they do love chaos, so they probably love the chaos that would be entailed by a Burning Legion invasion, but they probably hate being killed. I think what would more likely happen is that they would welcome an invasion, not reveal themselves to the Burning Legion, and then they would try to start manipulating and taking over the Burning Legion so that they can go and make their own form of chaos all across the galaxy. I think that'd be really cool. Another idea, actually, this is just one that I had with really not that much backing to it, is that Neolotha is perhaps an expansion, or not expansion, well, it could be a great expansion, but aside, it's a planet, right? The old god planet where they kind of come from. Perhaps that maybe Sagaris went near Neolotha, and that's why he became corrupted or something. I think that could be really cool. They could take it in interesting ways there. But anyway, this is that's the end of today's video. Thank you for watching, all that good stuff. If you have any questions or anything like that, please leave them down in the description. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.